Hello, Moral, and welcome to Speaking of Everything. My guest, a very interesting guest, has been here many times before. Mr. Elton Jones, former commissioner. How are you doing, sir?
Doing very well, thank you, and thanks for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here again.
It's good to have you in the program because just before we started, I showed you some numbers.
Yeah.
And I want to know, why are people so interested in you, even in shows that we did 8 years ago?
Well, I guess I do my best to give the information I have. If I don't have it, I just say so. Just be straight with the people.
No, it's amazing because we have done thousands of shows, but
Yeah.
only 600 plus are on our channel on
Yeah.
YouTube. And when we look at the numbers, sometimes every week or every other day, your name and your show always pops up there constantly with people watching it. So I was just curious about it.
It's kind of encouraging anyway.
That's how things going, man.
Hey, I'm doing okay, enjoying old age.
I like the hat you're walking with,
Yeah, I wear my hats.
Is there a special name for that hat? Because
Derby.
Is it derby? Oh, it's really, really nice. Yeah, I invite you because you've been around so long. You've worked with basically many politicians. You were a former commissioner, so you held office. You know what it's about. You was a air traffic controller at one time.
Yeah.
Pilot. I mean, you basically did everything.
I tried everything.
So when you look at Smyrna today, and I've spoken to you many times about the island, how things are going, how you feel? Are you still optimistic or disappointed?
If two things can be right at the same time, then I'm both. I am optimistic because the country still has a lot of potential. We have well-prepared young people who can lead us into the future. However, I'm disappointed in the fact that we have traded so many things for development, and we have left the people behind. I think that if you look at what's happening in government right now, the GDP debt ratio is so high that we can't really talk about future. I don't know how they're going to go with capital investments because our debts are almost twice or three times the budget. I don't know how they're going to work it out. They have not yet been able to discuss with the Dutch what part of these loans or monies that they got are loans and which parts are grants and what you need to be paid back. Because a country can't go forward with so much debt. So the way it is right now, our debts, our grandchildren, their children will be paying off these debts. So it's hard to plan a future when you're underwater in terms of financially. So the financial stewardship of the governments, including the last one that boasts about being there for 4 years, because being there for 4 years shouldn't be looked at as an achievement. That's what you're elected for. But because of the political gamemanship over the years, hardly any lasted 2 years. So that's good. But to last 4 years, it must have done good for the people or for the country. It cannot be that I was there for 4 years, but the people's lives are not better. Projects that we have are still not finished. After Irma, I was on a radio program and I was interviewing people. I interviewed the Dutch representative in Philippines, Mr. Johnson, and some other people that came from Holland. And we talk about how they're going to go forward with the development or the rebuilding of St. Martin. And at the time, they said, look, St. Martin going to make the calls. All we had to do is to supervise and make sure the money is spent well. Well, that has not been the case. By their own admission, about 80% of the homes in St. Martin were either seriously damaged or destroyed. So that is, if you look at it today, we haven't even fixed 10% of them. Schools, the same thing, the library, the airport. It is impossible for a country to develop when one of your main infrastructure pieces for your development, the airport, is down for 7 years. It took less than 3 years to build that airport from zero. It's hard to accept that to repair it. So not from zero, the structure still stood. It's taken 7 years. What have we lost in the 7 years? We were the hub for all of these islands around. In the meanwhile, Anguilla has extended the airport. Now they don't need us anymore. They're getting straight flights to their detriment too, because their people used to buy small airplanes to do cargo and taxiing between the islands, so they lost a part too. They gain a bit, but they lose a part. The same thing for Dominica. We were a hub for them. We were a hub for most of the islands around here. But nobody wanted to wait 7 years till we get our act together. So they moved on. They have a right too, but we have lost. The business you've lost, you're not going to get back. So while the movement's going on, because we have chosen over the years to go for mass tourism instead of going for niche tourism, we get a lot of flights. But if you look at it economically, we're not making more money.
Yeah, you know, I have to admire you for your concern about the debt, because, you know, when I bring it up, most people just brush it off. I've had politicians here who say, well, it's not a big deal. You know, the Dutch minister on Huffman was here and said, so it's at 44% debt to GDP ratio, so no concern. There are other countries.
He said that 44% is much more than that.
So, no, the thing is that they're saying we're not like, say, Jamaica, where it's over 100+%, and that we have a manageable debt. I disagree with that, and I'm glad that you feel the same way. But unless we don't have some understanding of what it does to a country, I think our leaders are going to continue to drive us even into more debt, because you remember we were part of Nelson Tilly's.
Yeah.
And when we broke up on the 10th of October 2010, we had a debt of, what, 5 billion guilders. Today now St. Martin alone is approaching 1.5 billion guilder debt in the space of 14 years.
Well, look, it cannot be ascertained. They don't have figures of what you owe the Dutch and how the Dutch plan to collect it, or if they plan to collect it, or what percentage is going to be. Besides that, we have an added debt of the Enya case because we are part of the Central Bank of Curaçao and St. Martin. We have to share in the debt, and our part of it is over 1 billion guilders. So I don't see how we get out of these debts. When your debts start to add up to more than 2 years of your budget and stuff like that, it becomes a dangerous thing. People are feeling comfortable because the Dutch is not knocking on the door. But the Dutch is not knocking on the door not because they don't intend to, but they can use it as the sort of Damocles over your head. You don't walk in line, then this happened. If I can't do what I want, then this happened. So basically, we're operating under pressure. Nobody wants to say that. They do as if it's all fine. But it's really not fine, and it's not offering the people a clear future, because if you can't tell people, you know, where the taxes go and what kind of development they have. 7 years it took to get the airport back. I'm told that it's going to open in October. But the homes are still not rebuilt. Schools are not rebuilt. We still don't have a library adequate up and running, because a lot of people who are not wired, who don't have internet and stuff, their kids used to go to the library to do their research and do their homework. That possibility is diminished. These are things that you need for a country to go ahead. There's no way in the world you can say that your government looking out for the future, and the future are your kids, and you're not looking out for them. If you look at the sport parks and the state they're in still today after 7 years, look at where we have our children playing. Look at the garbage that was supposed to be fixed, because everything was going to magically be regulated because we brought an office of the World Bank here. And I could remember being on your programs, I said, people don't understand the World Bank, don't finance things, they manage money. And if it doesn't go the way the World Bank, the project won't go. And you have always said, yeah, the project ain't ready because St. Martin wasn't. It's not so. It has to go their way. And many times I've heard the last government, the government before that, and even this one that lasted 17 days, say that, the World Bank said and this one said. Nobody ever says what Phillipsburg say. So Phillipsburg has no opinion in it. It is about the people here, but nobody sets the priorities on where it have to go. And that's what the Dutch representative and the Dutch project leaders said. St. Martin has the lead. They have to say what they want, and we'll see it go. That has not been the case in 7 years. And that government sat back, doing as if their hands are tied, can do nothing to let the airport stay 7 years to come back, is despicable.
In case you just joined us, this is Speaking About Everything on YouTube, Facebook, and on Hot 99.9 FM radio. My guest is Mr. Elton Jones, a former commissioner here in St. Martin, and we always speak with him. I say, once a politician, always a politician.
Well, you keep thinking about it. You can't not get involved because it affects the country, it affects the people. So you should have a voice. I mean, some people listen, some don't, maybe to their benefit or their detriment. But yeah, it's my country still, and I want to see the best for it.
I mean, you've always remained a down-to-earth guy, even when you was a commissioner.
Yeah, well, one of the things I was taught from young, always remember where you started, and the same people you meet on the way up are those you'll meet on the way down. So I try to level off in the neutral.
Let me ask you, because we have a government that just lasts 17 days.
Yep.
But this past election on the 19th of August was a bloodbath.
It was a bloodbath. I think one of the things we need to look at is people are getting fed up with the whole political system. Something has to be done. More than 9,000 people didn't show up for this election. I think they're fatigued with what's happening. They're really upset, and they can't find a way to deal with it. So what they do is just stay away. I think the justice system, while I don't agree with them totally, because St. Martin, they have the ability to arrest you for nothing and then seek information or evidence on that. So what they do with people is just pick them up on hearsay, and then nothing happens, and they've destroyed some lives doing that, because some people, at the end of the day, they were acquitted, but their life was already destroyed. They lost their jobs. So I think there's got to be a better way of doing those things, and Parliament could change those things. You don't have to meddle in the judiciary applying the laws, but they have to be sure. It's not a wild goose chase where you just take down people, destroy their life, and at the end of the day, you can't sue here, so you get nothing for it. But worse yet, you don't even get an apology.
And that's the bad thing about it, because the results of that actually is that a lot of people are afraid to get involved in the political process.
I know people, as a result of that, yes, but I don't think people should be afraid. Look, government is not a get-rich program. You don't get rich quick in government. You go to serve people, so you serve. If you do your job, you don't really have to worry about people saying these things. I have confidence in the young people. I think that's the way it should be. We send them away, we spend money on their scholarships, prepare them to come back and serve the country. Unfortunately, some of them didn't read the leaves right, and they take wrong steps. That's bad. But still, I think that's the way it's got to be. It's like playing any sport. If a person like me over 70 have to still play in the selection, it will say the sport didn't go ahead. It's the same thing in politics. You have to have new blood, new ideas, young ideas, progressive ideas to move the country forward. So, and that is not happening, and that's unfortunate. We have to have confidence in our young people, and if they mess up, then we got to deal with that. But we can't, keep going back to the same old, and expect things to change.
A lot of people always say that young people are important for change because the older heads really don't see things the same way, and there's a whole evolution taking place in terms of politics and change.
Look, young people, that's why the progressive, they have prepared themselves. They see things better, but it's hard for me to build a future for them because they're going to be in it. They know where they want to be, what they want, how they hope to see this country. And they have to be involved. That doesn't mean that we can give advice and we can be in it. But it cannot be so that we have to lead it and the old adage of what I say goes. It can't work and young people don't accept that. Everything can be explained. People have a certain intelligence and you must explain it to their satisfaction that it's a good thing. Things can be good just because you say they're good.
So then, when you look at the results of the last election, were you surprised because a number of politicians went home?
A number of politicians went home. Like I said, look, we have to stop taking the people for granted. The constant dropping of governments, the so-called ship jumping and all those other things that do, is good political gamemanship, but it does none for the country really.
Those people they didn't bring down the government, those people that lost big in this last election.
No, look, some people believe that if they spoke with Earl Gibbs and he supported them in January, he will support them again in August. That's not true. You still got to go back and knock by Earl Gibbs and shake hands and talk with him, because people are not like fish in a barrel. They move on from things, and unfortunately, a lot of people are very self-centered. So, what's in it for me? What do I get? What, how you talk to me? So you have to keep in touch with the people, making contact to see how things are going, and explain a few things. It has been habitual here in St. Martin that once elected, the people don't count anymore. The same people, we go down Belvedere and Union Farm and seeking votes. After we elected, we don't know them. We don't remember who they are. We have the people lined up outside the building like beggars, for things. We still haven't found a way to give service to our people that is acceptable than having them stand in long lines from 6 o'clock in the morning till whenever, and then they cut it off at 10 or at 11, and the people have to come another day. It's a terrible way to give service. And we put a substation in Simsbury, which is good, but in St. Peter's and Belvedere, those areas have the largest populations on the island. We have no substations in those areas. So these people are forced to come in town and stand in line. And this is not, now. We're in the 21st century. Things can be done more remotely. You have computers. You could transfer from one place to the other. Government have to bring their services to the people, not force the people to come to government and be humiliated and stuff like that.
You make a very valid point. And the thing is that I'm surprised that a lot of people in St. Martin still don't have access to the internet. And you referred to it earlier with the children you mentioned.
I go back to the late Vance James Jr. And I don't know if you could remember, back in 95, Vance James said, St. Martin is going to be a wired country. The whole island must be wired and have internet and communication. Well, I don't see the wire yet. I was real upset after the hurricane, then COVID, that government saying to people, no, you have to do it online. Sounds good. And internationally, it sounds good that St. Martin government said do everything online. But we must understand what percentage of the population is online. The people that tell them to do things online don't even have a computer. So how do I do it online? We're getting into things because it's what's acceptable internationally, but you have not prepared your people for it. So the people don't know. And then the services like going to SZV, going to the banks, people don't know. And you tell them do it online, so they're stuck. They're let out. We have a large part of society that is not adequately served or taken part in the country because they're not online and nothing has been done. We don't even have good Wi-Fi around the country. Some people have to go stand up by a shop or by some business to try get their Wi-Fi to get communication, stuff like that. We are one of the most developed little islands in the Caribbean. People looked up to it. People once upon a time always wished to see what St. Martin does. But over the years, we have gone back in our promises to the people and our commitment to the people, and we're starting to lag behind. Countries that envied us are now our greatest competition and doing well, taking away businesses from us. And it all goes back to the halls of power, because you ask to be elected, you have to have a direction to take the people and get them there. And the same way that you and I will see what's going wrong, the people in government knows what's going wrong. I'll give you an example. One of the biggest things in St. Martin right now is GB. And rightfully so. Look, after the hurricane, there was problem with GB. Then came COVID, and it got worse. People were getting bills they couldn't even justify, and GB had no explanation for it. But everybody knew, government knew too, and nothing happened. So somebody was getting $350 GB bill, all of a sudden became $1,000. And GB said, yeah, but if that's what shows up, means you use it, where would you use it? COVID, everybody was on lockdown over a year. So why would the bills go up? GB have a problem with the computer, but what does it do when the computer come back in? It jacks up all the bills, and nobody looks at it. So now somebody who was living month to month or living on paycheck to paycheck, all of a sudden have an extra $600 or $700 bill because everything gone up. But government knows and nothing happened. The other thing you need to look at is, the old people used to say you shouldn't leave a good emergency go to waste. And some of these businesses understand that well. After every emergency, hurricane, COVID, all these businesses jacked up the prices, so price gouging. But government knows. But they do nothing about it. They put 10 or 15 items in a basket and say these basket items, but the rest you could raise it up how you want. And they never bring it back down. So the cost of living go back. Then they say, yeah, but we can't control the cost of living. Of course you can. Price gouging is a normal thing in the cost of living raise. We allowed it to happen. We have taken loans. That's why I keep talking about that. We have taken loans to keep businesses open, some businesses that we shouldn't have given money to. But I understand the concept. The concept was we're going to give them some financial aid so they won't send anybody home.
So we took the money and left too.
Exactly. Yeah. Because we had no guardrails or no guarantees on how to do. So they got the money. Instead, they let the people off, the casinos, all them. So they took money that the taxpayer is going to end up paying back, but they gone with it, and nothing happens.
But Mr. Jones, here you're the first person I'm having here saying that.
Yeah, but everybody knows. The government knows. The people in government know, but they won't look. I have no reason.
No, you're not lying, though. What you're saying is true.
I have no reason not to speak out clearly because I am not dependent, I never have been, on somebody buying me some big posters or paying a campaign. And so for me, what is right and what is wrong. I have many friends in government on all parties, and me and they are very tight, but I'll tell them like I tell you how I see things. I had a talk with my friend of mine on the Democratic Party, and I talked to him about price control. And he said to me, Mr. Jones, that ain't quite right, because we can't control the prices because we don't produce nothing, everything we import. And I understand where he's coming from, but that doesn't mean he's right. We never had customs here. Now we have customs. Why do we have customs? It was not to put excise on people, so control what comes and what goes. So we know everything that comes in this country, where at the purchasing point, what they paid for it. So we know what is a good markup. That somebody buys something for $20 and sells for $80, that's not a good markup. We know that's price not going to be. We could price it up, because if you're going to bring top line products and build them up so much, that is wrong. Secondly, we have businesses here on Front Street and Back Street that are ripping off tourists in our name. And what they do, they buy secondhand stuff. People come off a ship, they buy it, they get back on the ship, they go destroy. They know these people ain't coming back, so you get out. But these people don't say X store did that. They say in St. Martin. So we get a bad name for letting people do things, and we have controllers. Economic affairs have controllers. These things have to be checked. They should be checked. I'm not a tourist. I went to buy a phone, bought a phone, new phone in the box already, open it. They have a bunch of notes and messages to people, and it's a brand new phone, never used. And,
that's common on the island.
I go back to the guy, and the guy told me, yeah, we got to send it to fix. I said, listen to me, man. I have this phone less than an hour. You don't send it to fix? You either give me a new phone or give me back my money. Yeah, we don't go. I said, look, you better call the police guy. You have a real problem with me. Because those are crazy things, but they do it all the time to the tourists. And it's wrong. It's ripping off people. They buy second-hand goods, a whole container of them. They're repaired and they sell them as new. That is robbery.
And there should be better control to for
Economic affairs have controls. They should.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't, but yeah. If the old people said the fish stinks at the head, if the leadership is not making sure they do their job, then these things happen.
Well, in case you've just joined us, I'm Earl Gibbs. This is Speaking of Everything. I'm speaking with Mr. Elton Jones. Mr. Elton Jones is former commissioner. You're following us on YouTube, Facebook, or on Hot 99.9 FM radio. When we come back, we'll continue with Mr. Jones right here on Speaking of Everything. Please stay with us. And welcome back to Speaking of Everything. My guest is Mr. Jones. You see him right there. We speak with him on YouTube, Facebook, and on Hot 99.9 FM radio. This island is so unique. People still love to come to St. Martin, no matter what we do. We are so lucky that we're still at the level we are today in terms of tourism.
We are lucky. I think we are blessed, and not because of anything we do. I guess it's the prayers of the old people that keep the island going. So we don't do much to attract businesses. Business that we can get, they come here by word of mouth. We don't have a program to attract business. In the tourism business, we have been doing since 1963 the same thing we're doing now. So over 60 years, we're on the East Coast.
It was a little different when you was commissioner with Rolla. You guys
went other places. Yeah. One of the markets I think we can still hack into is the South American market. There's a lot of capital in South America, so that they're willing to spend, but we don't have the uplift. We don't have our own airline to do it, and we're not able to get our airlines to do it because they want you to pay a certain amount of seats to ensure that they don't run empty.
Yeah.
But even in the United States itself, there are a certain amount of people on the Eastern Seaboard, but we don't go in the Midwest. We don't go. There are a lot of people there with capital also.
Well, is it a connection problem?
All of them have to connect through Miami or New York. But you can. We have an airline. They could get a partnership with an airline that will fly with Veneer colors and get it done. These things are possible, but you have to have some idea. You have to try it. We do not. We sit back and wait for it to fall in our lap.
Were you in favor of pre-clearance?
I still am. I think.
But it's dead now because of all the
we
games
killed it with the game. We were one island where they lifted all the blockages to make sure St. Martin get it. St. Martin just had to say yes and sign, and we let it go. When you call Phillipsburg, I was at the airport at that time doing a consultancy. I called Phillipsburg and said, look, the guys are waiting for a meeting, they're waiting to sign. The people in Phillipsburg at the time would not even return the call.
Wow.
That's the way we deal with things. That's why things are happening in this country because of being blessed, not because we're lucky, because our people don't act lucky. We act kind of childish in business. I believe, I went to business school in Canada. I believe at least returning a call, like giving people an answer, say yes or say no, but don't refuse to pick up your phone, refuse to call back, and those things.
It's such an important thing.
As a government, it's disrespectful, and what it does is people don't want to deal with you anymore because you're immature. You can't deal with you. You should be able to say, no, look, I'm no longer interested. I don't know why St. Martin would not be interested, but what I do know, the Dutch was never in favor, and the people they have at the airport and the people back in government at that time would not do anything that displeases the Dutch.
Yeah, and that's quite a problem these days.
Yeah, it's it's sick. People are afraid to speak out. At the end of the day, you can't walk into the building. The people of St. Martin put you in the building. Those are the people you represent. You don't represent the Dutch kingdom. So the things that are good for St. Martin, you have to do for St. Martin. We have an economy to protect and build on. And if things are going to improve the economy, it's our duty to go after it, because at the end of the day, the standard of living of our people is going to be increased or diminished because of the actions we take or fail to take.
You said something, the standard of living of our people.
Yeah.
All politicians don't think about that, Mr. Jones.
Unfortunately, but I think they're going to have to start thinking of that. Look, people are being more critical. Sometimes, I'm on the road and I hear them say, yeah, you know what, they're buying votes and they're buying votes. But still, maybe you're buying votes, but the people are still not stupid. One of the things we need to understand, you give somebody $10 or $50 or $100, whatever the going price is, when they get in the booth, it's still they alone. Mm-hmm. And now the curtain, so they can't take no picture to tell you I vote for you. Yeah. You have to speak truth to people. Some people are hurting. I don't condone, I don't agree that people take money for their vote, but I understand there are some people can't pay their electricity bill, can't even put food on the table. I know some people I talk to, they have 3 and 4 children in school. School fees are through the roof. After you pay, and the school isn't letting children in unless you pay. That's another thing we need to do, because we have compulsory education. They should not be able to put out a child because they can't afford to pay. But we're doing nothing about it. We do as if everything is good in the country. What I say to people is this. St. Martin is so artificial. All the places where the tour buses go and run is upkept, well done, and that's what they show the world. But if you go off the main road, going to Belvedere, going to Garden of Eden, going to all those places, godly names or biblical names, then you'll see what a real St. Martin look like. And there are people in this country that can't put food on the table, and things are hard. So, and when people are hungry, when people are struggling, their reason becomes much less. That's how they get more violent. Yeah. That's because you're bothering them. You're not helping in them. You're not helping in any way, but you're bothering them. Every time you come to do something, they consider it just being disgusted, and they lash out. Unfortunately, but you need to understand why. People are hurting. I can't imagine how somebody would feel if their children have to go to school this morning and they couldn't give them breakfast. But we don't have no more meals in school. When I went to school, it had meals in school.
Oh, yeah.
So those are some of the frustrations in the place. A guy is don't have a job, but he's doing a little gypsy, and I don't condone the gypsy thing, but you gotta find them work. If the option is to do gypsy or go rob somebody, I'd rather do the gypsy, because that's what's gonna happen. Nobody, and this is an old Dung Street thing. The old people used to say, nobody's going to die like a whelk on the rock. They're going to find ways to get along. Yeah. And that's how it is. So a guy running a gypsy, he's trying to make $1. At least it's honest. Yeah. And we have to find a way to deal with these things, because they're making money, then have them legalize and pay taxes and so they contribute to it. But to pull them off the road and hold their car, it's not helping the situation on the island.
And this is $1 billion economy, and all people are getting not even crumbs right now.
Look, some countries around the Caribbean have economies that are inexplicable. It's more artificial. How do you explain that a small island like Anguilla have 5, 6 local banks? An economy like Samadin have 3 or 4, but Anguilla has more local entrepreneurs and big businesses than I have. A guy will say, you see that supermarket that belongs to Mr. Lake, that business that belongs. In St. Martin, I am hard-pressed walk front street and back street to show a large business, even a supermarket, that belong to us. We have built an economy totally in the hands of expatriates. So in other words, if you look at what happens during the COVID and during the hurricane, when things get tough, everybody pack up and go. We have not. So they close. We have no options. Yeah? I'm not anti-anybody, but I honestly believe we have got to get away, and we have children come back now with business ideas or want to get involved, but it would see that the market is so saturated now against us. If somebody here get another supplier, if you want to bring, the French side bring European food stuff, all the other things we get comes out of Miami, out of the USA. So if somebody came back from Holland and want to open a supermarket with a supermarket branch in Holland, where would you do it? You know, it's so saturated now. It's hard. You have to find a whole new niche business. And
then they'll take it over too.
They'll take it over. You know, I ride my bike and I run in the morning. So I go down there to French Quarter. And I find this so amazing, you know. You go to school and you have all these big ideas of what you want to do and stuff like that. A guy put a little hut on the side of the road, get some lettuce and stuff like that, and get 1,000 guanas around there. And the people come to take pictures and pay for the guana. He sell his drink, he's doing it. But it's he's working for himself.
Yeah, that's good.
But you have to see these guanas. I mean, hundreds of them are there. And people just buy a lettuce and feed their iguanas and they take pictures and they feel happy. But there are things you could do. You have to have ideas. But the big business like supermarkets and those stuff are all gone.
You know, I was in a radio interview, like I think about 20-something years ago with Mayor Albert, the late Mayor Albert Fleming. And I asked him, I was invited to be on that radio interview on the French side with some other broadcasters. If he think he will make it today in St. Martin the way he made it back in the 60s and 70s, he said no, he couldn't do it today. It's completely different.
It is.
And that's the sad part of it. Here you have a very successful German, the former mayor of St. Martin, big contractor, didn't go away to study, did everything in St. Martin, became successful, became the mayor, very loved by the people, and he's saying if he had to do it today, he couldn't do it today.
No, the country, the dynamics in the country changed so much. Everything that happens in Martin, happened to us, happened by us. So in other words, it's our people. And we don't have any foreigner running. I didn't elect a foreigner to run St. Martin. Our people run this country. Our people go there and ask for the vote. Our people know what the needs of the country and its people
So then why they're doing what they're doing?
Exactly. That's where it is. In the days of the Albert Fleming and Dr. Watty and all them, they talk with the people and little things matter. We overlook the little things. We are willing to go cut a ribbon to build a hotel and all those things that give you Kodak moments, but we forget the people that don't have jobs. We know we were going to, since 1996, deal with the short-term contract. You can't get rid of it, but you can deal with it. And it is impossible for anybody in government, irrespective of the party, to say that short-term contracts in casinos is a good thing. Casinos are not short-term, they're open year-round.
Right.
So these people are entitled to a full job, but we let it happen. And again, for the same reason, the big posters and the stuff like that. We are killing our people. We were going to also make a gaming board. So we stopped charging the casinos $300,000, which they could pay from 2 machines, and take a drop, like Kirsten or Robert, a drop from the casino. So you check the right. Casino controllers you have there, instead of seeing if somebody's 18 years old, which I think is a waste of time, because if I have a bar and I can't serve under 18, you don't put a controller by the door to see that I don't do it. That's simply the law. But in Curacao, everybody use the casino controllers to check the drop. So I get a percentage of the drop. It's more than that $300,000 to pay, because the number plays $300,000 too. How you don't have no controller by their door? I mean, it's one mad thing, and it's not any government. It's every successive government with the same story. They do nothing about things that need to be done, because the only thing that is important to them is not the next generation, is the next election. So they keep their eyes on the election and the things you do that is going to keep you strong.
Let's take a historical view here, because I think it's important for my audience, listeners and viewers to know this. The late Dr. Claude Waddy was on this show many times, in fact more than anyone else. I recall him telling me once, he said, look, on the show, and he said it publicly many places, they could not continue with the drop for the casinos because they were cheating. So they had to come up with this fixed amount. And it's been there now for decades.
Decades. And look, they were cheating. Look, I have Claude was my friend. I have a lot of respect for him. Look, if
but you recall him saying that?
Yeah. My thing is, you could, like, it's the same thing like the guy telling me, no, you can't do price control and something. That's not true. Look, if the controllers are checking the drop, it's written somewhere. It's noted in the computer somewhere. So they can't cheat. If the machine's made for today, say 50,000 guilders, you have to pay me on 50,000 guilders. So if they make 50,000 guilders every day, yeah, in 352 days, I know how much they make. So government charge them, even with the 300,000, whatever they pay now, it was 300,000. A lot of casinos are in arrears. We don't go to collect. So you can't say
the law, I understand.
Exactly. the thing is, we let businesses get away with things that the ordinary citizen can't. Look.
But it's by design.
It is by design. Look, you have a little business here. They send you a tax bill. You file, they send you a tax. No, you don't pay enough. You have to pay some more. You say to them, yeah, but I don't have it. All I can afford to pay is, let's say, $500. No, that's not enough. If you're not paid by this day, then we'll come and hold something. See what they did with Carl's and Son a few days here. It's an auction of some things. But we're quick to do that with local people. You name me one foreign business, a foreign establishment, something where that happened. You know, these things are by design. We put more pressure on our own people, and I don't like to speculate, so I don't want to say it's because of this reason or that reason, but people have an idea, huh? Because it's not government's prime business to close down local businesses. You should be able to give them a hand and give them a break, lift them up, not knock them down. And we look as if we take pleasure in shutting down locals, taking them out of the market.
Because we don't want to see locals in business.
It's despicable the way we deal with our own people. And it is hard for people like me. I'm on the road a lot. And when I walk down in the city of Philly, I was raised in Phillipsburg. I could remember from the corner there by John Carty and them go up, I could remember every shop, every store. Everything was local. I knew all the names. I still see them in my mind. And when you go now, there are none. And you know what they say? Yeah, but some man, people can't do business. But we were doing all the business when you came here. Mm-hmm. Yeah? That's why you came here, because you saw opportunities here. But now, you try to belittle us by saying, oh, we don't know what we're doing and we are lazy. Which lazy society built something like this?
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because, I'm an upstreet boy, so I was at the
remember.
end of Phillipsburg or Great Barrier.
I was on the other end.
Right. And so I can recall what you said. But what I also noticed that there's some business people that came in decades ago, and they had to rent from local people.
Yeah.
And they will always complain or rent too high, this and that. And these local people, that wasn't real estate. They say, oh, they didn't know anything about business. They were lazy, just collecting rent. Today now, those same people now are in real estate. And all of a sudden, many of our local people are out of real estate. So all of a sudden, real estate is fashionable. It's a business now. But when it was locally owned, it wasn't a business. And this is so strange, man.
Samartan is one of the only places I know, well, it might be the only one I know because here's where I'm from, where we take a certain amount of pleasure and pressure in our own. We don't want to see them move forward. If I walk up the road and I saw in this billion-dollar economy, I saw a few local millionaires, I'd be glad for them. At least some of us made it. That's not possible here. We make millionaires every day. We make more millionaires than a lot of big countries. But it's not for us. It's not us becoming the millionaires. People come here to do business. They sell it, they go. Out of first income, they do it. They sell it, they go. The locals still, and they're saying, we're still the job seekers. We are the employees. Very few of us were fortunate enough to become the employers. There's no help in that. We had a small business association. I asked a friend of mine about it a few days ago. What happened to that? Because you have young people want to get in business. Where's the assistance? Government's supposed to have a budget for small business, to assist small business. I heard them in the last budget meeting talking about agriculture. Agriculture being on the budget since we started having budgets.
That's true.
And not never happened, and nobody ever asked where the money went. It was never checked. Back in the 90s when we checked it, it was, some word salad to get out of it. But the fact is, agriculture is on the budget. If we can reduce our cost of living by some cheaper ground foods or whatever, will help in home budgeting. I don't think we can go in agriculture as a scale to compete with the big conglomerates selling all these things, but in your own society, you could sell things like eggs and potatoes, things that grow here easy. Yeah? And we have the climate for it, we have the area for it, we have here land that can be used for nothing, we can plant it out. But we don't do anything. We go to the supermarket and buy tomatoes which grow. You throw a tomato seed in the ground by the road, it grows. It could grow here, but we're going to buy it by the supermarket and complain it's too expensive. We produce nothing like the guy said, but we complain because we consider that work beneath us. No work is beneath anybody. Honest living can be beneath you. If you can help yourself, then do that. It's hard to depend on government or anybody else. So I think if people start their own home farming in the back of the yard or whatever little piece of land they have, it's going to assist the economy. Not to any large extent, but at least you could drop the cost of living because all these things they bring in that I could produce here, they'll have to lower the price to compete.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Jones, it's always a pleasure having you. Anything else you want to add in closing?
It's been a pleasure being here. The only thing I want to say, look out for those young people. There are some real good ones in between, and I still have confidence in the youth.
Well, Mr. Jones, I want to thank you for coming. Wish you much success.
It's been my pleasure.
Thank you. And that's it for now on Speaking About Thing. See you next time on YouTube, Facebook, and on Hot 99.9 FM radio. Take care. Bye.